President Donald Trump is playing.
Hey, all right, shalom, shalom. First and foremost, I would like to give all praises, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai. Double honors to the sincere apostles and elders of a great millstone who are my teachers. And peace and salutations to you brothers out there preaching this word in truth and sincerity. This is the brother Yahweh Sap with another lesson. This one's just going to be a short one, man. I was just going through some news today that I missed. And I came across this video, and I have a couple articles that I want to get into real quick. But hey, this is just more evidence that we're at the end of Esau Edom's kingdom. All right, this is just more signs that we're seeing to confirm that Yahweh Shai's return is imminent. All right, so I'm gonna let this clip play, and then we'll get into some scriptures and those articles.
Off and getting ready for a new week. It's after a fairly busy one that brought new global tariffs and a stock market reaction. Christian Benavidez reports out of West Palm Beach, Florida.
From Chicago to Washington, D.C. and across the U.S., people gathered Saturday to speak out against the Trump administration. They protested President Trump's key initiatives, including large-scale cuts to federal agencies and the new slew of tariffs that have tanked global stock markets.
Their tariffs are not only imbecilic, they're illegal, they're unconstitutional, and we're going to turn this around.
Protesters also took to the streets in Paris, London, and other European capitals.
The policies Trump is following are a threat to the world as we have come to know it and enjoy it as very privileged Westerners.
Today, we really want to send a message of solidarity to our friends and families back in America.
President Trump is spending the weekend at his Mar-a-Lago estate here in South Florida. Some new tariffs on goods imported to the U.S. went into effect Saturday, triggering customs agents' collections at ports of entry. In a post on Truth Social, the president asked Americans to hang tough, calling the tariffs an economic revolution. But many consumers say they are worried. A YouGov poll finds that just over 2/3 of Americans think the price of goods they typically buy will rise. Christian Benavidez, CBS News, West Palm Beach, Florida.
Hey, and there you have it, man. You got prices rising, all right, and it's only going to get worse, you know. And hey, while you Americans are going through it, this guy, this king that's over you, all right, he's chilling in his resort, man. All right, he's out there playing golf. He's not worried about the rise in prices, all right, because the whole plan of the elites, man, all right, is to subjugate you Americans. All right, specifically you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and North American Indians, you true biblical Israelites, man. They wanna chip you, man. They wanna put a CHIP, the MOTB spoken about in Revelation 13. All right, they wanna put that inside of you, man. All right, and ultimately they want everybody on a UBI system. All right, they want everybody on a digital platform. They don't want you making your own money. All right, they want you to own nothing and still be happy. All right, and these are things that we've been telling you about, and now these things are coming to pass, you know. And so I wanted to grab this in the book of James. Bear with me. It might be James chapter 1. Might have to look it up. Salaki, I thought it was in James 5. I must have been thinking of another precept. Let me just look it up. Salaki. God, this is the book of James chapter 2, and I'm gonna start at verse 5. And so it says, "Hearken, my beloved brethren, hath not Yahweh chosen the poor of this world, rich in faith, and heirs of the kingdom which he hath promised to them that love him?" And so that's right, these men that you have set up over you, these elites, all right, they're not the chosen of the world, man. Hey, they were given a kingdom, all right, but that kingdom is about to be yanked from them. Okay, in fact, the Most High had chosen the poor of this world, man, ultimately of you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and North American Indians, all right, you true biblical Israelites once again. All right, we are the remnant that is left here in Babylon. All right, and so it says in verse 6, "But ye have despised the poor," and that's right, because hey, we've been telling you what the rich man is planning on doing. All right, we've been telling you what the elites have been planning behind closed doors All right, but you did what? You despised us. All right, and so it says, "Do not rich men oppress you and draw you before the judgment seats." And that's right. And you have a Trump. He's been cracking down on the so-called illegal immigrants. All right, and you've been having people who are here legally getting deported, man. All right, they even deporting you so-called Negroes. All right, anyone who's dark-skinned or who doesn't look like them, pretty much. That's who they're going after, man. And so, do not rich men oppress you. All right, they out here playing golf. All right, having fun, enjoying a martini, laughing about the affliction that you people are about to go through, man. What do you say? Hang tough. Hey, you gotta hang tough out here, man. All right, because this devil. Hey, let's grab this in the book of Revelation, chapter 12, and verse 12. And so it says, "Therefore rejoice, ye heavens, and ye that dwell in them. Woe to the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea, for the devil is come down unto you, having great wrath, because he knoweth that ye hath but a short time." And so the devil is coming down to you, unto you, having great wrath. All right, so he's gonna continue to increase these tariffs. All right, he's gonna continue, excuse me, to put hell upon you people, man. All right, because ultimately his plan isn't to liberate you, all right, as he has this quote unquote liberation day, but his plan is to oppress you. All right, his plan is to kill you off, so he doesn't have too much to deal with. All right, what was that? The Georgia Guidestones, their whole plan, all right, was laid out there. All right, which if you don't know what that is, I recommend looking it up. All right, but pretty much they have a plan to keep the population under 500 million. You know, and what they tell you is that there's 7 billion people upon the planet, man, and so that's a huge drop. But this is their plan. This is what we're seeing. All right, and it's only going to get worse. And so, I want to jump to the book of Second Ezra chapter 9, because once again, this is just more evidence that we're at the end of Esau's kingdom. All right, with these protests going on. All right, with these different countries preparing for war. All right. And so this is the book of Second Ezra chapter 9 and verse 1. And so it reads, "He answered me then and said, Measure thou the time diligently in itself, and when thou seest part of the signs past, which I have told thee before, then shalt thou understand that it is the very same time wherein the highest will begin to visit the world which he made. Therefore, when there shall be seen earthquakes and uproars of the people in the world, then shalt thou well understand that the Most High spake of those things from the days that were before thee, even from the beginning." And so that's right, these things have been spoken about from the beginning. All right, and we've been telling you, starting from the apostles and elders on down for 30 plus years, 40 plus years, all right, that these things were going to come to pass. All right, that it was going to get hard out here, that prices were going to go up. All right, that they wanted to implement you with, they wanted to implant a chip inside of you. All right, they wanted to put you on a digital platform. All right, and we told you we didn't know exactly how it was going to go down, but these are the things that were written out. And so now we're seeing it come to pass. We told you that the beast, NATO, was going to hate the whore. Okay, we told you that Russia was going to be the one to guard those nations. All right, and we're seeing everything play out perfectly. All right, as we've been saying. All right, the Most High, all right, he's confirming the words that his prophets have been saying. All right, and it's through these signs. All right, it's through these different manifest these different endings, or what does it say? Let me see. Yeah, Khan. For all, like it says in verse 5, for like as all that is made in the world hath the beginning and an end, and the end is manifest. And so that's right. And so it says, even so the times also of the highest have plain beginnings in wonder and powerful works, and endings in effects and signs. And so that's what we're seeing, effects and signs, man. And what Trump is doing is leading these different nations to hate America. All right, and it's all part of their plan, because they want everybody on the UBI system, everybody tracked and surveillanced. All right, this is the plan that they have. All right, that's why you see everything going on the way that it's going on. All right, and so back, I actually want to grab, I just saved an article right here. NATO member readies nuclear bunkers as war threat surges. And so it says Sweden has announced a significant $10 million investment to upgrade its civil defense bunkers in response to advising its citizens to prepare for potential warfare amid Russia's ongoing conflict with Ukraine. And why are they telling you? Why do they keep painting Russia as an enemy, man? You know, that's something that you should be asking yourself. All right, why do they keep saying that Russia is gonna go past Ukraine, but then you have all these NATO countries that are preparing for war, all right, and gathering around in the so-called Middle East, all right, gathering around Russia's border, all right. Why is all that happening? Well, because they want war to happen. Okay, they're pushing their propaganda, all right, to get you people to be afraid, all right, so that way whenever they come with a solution, hey, they can go ahead and well, really, it's like you, when they come with a solution, you're gonna go ahead and take it. All right, if you don't believe, if you don't have this faith, all right, if you don't have this covering. And so it says the country is home to an extensive network of 64,000 shelters capable of accommodating about 7 million people, more than 2/3 of Sweden's population. It says following its move towards NATO in March 2024, the Swedish Civil Contingencies Agency excuse me, has intensified inspections of these facilities, which are designed to protect large numbers of people from various threats, including shockwaves, bomb debris, nuclear blasts, radioactive fallout, and chemical and biological agents. Now, why? Now, why would they need all that, man? All right, because they know the destruction that's to come. All right, they want to be able to escape the judgment of the Heavenly Father, man. That's why it says they shall go into the clefts of the rock. Let me grab that. The book of Isaiah chapter 2. And I'm going to start at verse... I'm going to start at verse 12. And so it says, for the day of Hadawan of hosts shall be upon every one that is proud and lofty. And these devils, hey, they're very proud. You actually had Donald Trump come out with a gold card that has his face on it. Let me see if I can actually find that. Donald Trump gold card. 1 second. Donald Trump reveals 5 million Visa gold card with his face on it. All right, and there he is. You can see him. All right, he has his face on it, man. That just goes to show you how proud these devils are. Lord's will, it loads. I don't know. There it is. Look at that. All right, this devil is very proud. All right, and so back in this article, it says, or Salakia, I was reading. So back in Isaiah chapter 2 and verse 12 again, for the day of Hadawan Yahweh of hosts shall be upon every one that is proud and lofty, and upon every one that is lifted up, and he shall be brought low, and upon all the cedars of Lebanon that are high and lifted up, and upon all the oaks of Bashan, and upon all the high mountains, and upon all the hills that are lifted up, and upon every high tower, and upon every fence wall. So no one's going to escape the judgment of the Heavenly Father, okay? And so it says, and upon all the ships of Tarshish, and upon all pleasant pictures, and the loftiness of men shall be bowed down, and the haughtiness of men shall be made low. And that's right, because they're going to know that there is a God in the heavens whose name is Yahweh. Okay, and so it says, and Hadawan Yahweh alone shall be exalted in that day. Hey, these people are going to know that there is a power in the heavens, all right, and that they are just but men. And so it says, and the idols he shall utterly abolish. And that main idol is going to be that MOTB. All right. And it says, and they shall go into the holes of the rocks and into the caves of the earth for fear of Yahweh and for the glory of his majesty when he ariseth to shake terribly the earth. Hey, and so that's right. So when Yahweh Shah returns, hey, that's what these bunkers are for. So they can go ahead and hide away in there, man. All right. That's why they're building these things. They're telling you, for protection. All right, from all this nuclear fallout. But nah, that's not what it is. They know that Yahweh Shai's return is imminent, man. That's why they're moving so fast. That's why Trump is putting these tariffs. All right, that's why these different nations are preparing for war with Russia. All right, to go into the Middle East. This is all being set up by the Heavenly Father, man. All right, and so it says in verse 20, in that day a man shall cast his idols of silver and his idols of gold, which they made, each one for himself to worship, to the moles and to the bats, because during that day their gold and their silver is not going to save them. All right, and then they're going to pray to these idols, but it's not going to work. So they're going to cast them away. All right, and then they're going to do what? Verse 21, to go into the clefts of the rocks and into the tops of the ragged rocks for fear of Hadawan Yahweh and for the glory of his majesty when he ariseth to shake terribly the earth. Cease ye from man whose breath is in his nostrils, for wherein is he to be accounted of? And so that's right. So when Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai returns, hey, they're going to cast all these idols that they have away. And they gonna run into those rocks, man, because they know what's about to befall them. And mainly, it's gonna be those elites, man, because those elites are gonna command their armies to fight against these people, man. You know, and so I actually got one more article, and then we can end it off there. And so this is just going more into the protest. All right, massive anti-Trump uprising explodes as 500,000 flood streets in hands-off protests nationwide. And this was actually international. You know, as you heard, there was protests going on in London and Paris. All right, matter of fact, let me see if I can find a more updated article. Hands-off protesters. Let me see. And anti-Trump protesters assemble in every state and cities worldwide. It says hundreds of thousands gather for the largest opposition protest since the inauguration. Let me see. All right, so it says from Washington, D.C. to Los Angeles, Topeka, Kansas to Chicago, and several of its suburbs in all 50 states and in many cities worldwide, hundreds of thousands of people assembled to protest against Donald Trump and his billionaire financier and advisor Elon Musk on Saturday. The hands-off protests included around 1,200 demonstrations planned in advance, according to organizers, with more than 500,000 people RSVPing to attend the marches and protests, which look to be the largest single day of protests since Trump took office. Per the event's website, more than 150 groups signed on to participate. And so now these people, they're starting to protest against Trump. All right, they're starting to protest against America, which is going to be, which is a sign that, that we're definitely at the end. Like it says in Habakkuk 2, which we're about to get. But it tells you that shall not all these take up a parable against him. All right, and so continuing it, it says in Washington, D.C., where more than 20,000 people were expected to attend the rally held at the National Mall. People held signs protesting the massive cuts to federal agency. And, you know, just speaking on these protests, man, there was a brother that actually went out there during one of the protests, and he was telling them, that America's finished, you know, and these devils, they were out there saying like, nah, no, it's not. These devils, they don't want their kingdom to end. All right, they just want this terrible king that's placed over them to stop oppressing them, man. All right, they want these rich men to stop oppressing them. And so it says people held signs protesting the massive cuts to federal agencies, including health and social security workers, defending constitutional rights, which have been under threat from the administration and Trump's executive orders, and supporting human rights for immigrants, women, and trans people. It says not paid and pissed off. Read one sign, a reference to Musk's baseless claims and fair use. Like I forgot to say that. All right, because I played a video of fair use. This is just for edification. All right, I'm not making money off of this. All right, and so it says a reference to Musk's baseless claims that protests against him are being funded by liberal billionaire George Soros. One man hefted a model of a human spine onto a pole. Hey, GOP, where's yours? Read the accompanying sign. One of the chants which received a big reaction from the crowd was when someone began calling out, "Where is Congress?" To which the crowd shouted back, "Do your job." Protesters' reasons for attending the event varied widely, with the thousands who flocked to the National Mall on Saturday being fueled by various degrees of frustration, grief, outrage, and outright anger. And so very soon, hey, these protests are going to start turning into riots, and then these riots are going to turn into a civil war. And then what's going to happen is a martial law is going to end up going out. All right, and then so on and so forth, man. And of course, it may not play exactly out how I'm thinking it, but this is just based off of what we know. And so all through the spirit and power of Yahweh by Shemi Al-Shah, that's my humble opinion of about what we're about to see happen, And so you can see that these people, they're no longer taking SHIT. All right, sugar, honey, iced tea, man. They're going to there's going to be a sedition of men as spoken about in 2nd Ezra 15. All right, there's going to be a lot of anger, like we just read, that's going to be going out, man. And so, with that being said, we'll end it off here in the book of Habakkuk. All right, chapter 2. Verse 7. Oh, Salaki, verse 6. I'm going to start at verse 6. So it says, "How not all these take up a parable against him, and a taunting proverb against him, and say, Woe to him that increaseth that which is not his. How long? And to him that ladeth himself with thick clay," meaning debt. All right. And so it says, "Shall they not rise up suddenly that shall bite thee, and awake that shall vex thee, and thou shalt be for booties unto them? Because thou hast spoiled many nations, all the remnant of the people shall spoil thee, because of men's blood, and for the violence of the land, and of the city, and of all that dwell therein." And so ultimately, man, these people are taking up a proverb against him, all right, saying, "Woe to him that increaseth that which is not his." All right, these protests are happening worldwide. All right, and it's only going to get worse. So, once again, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, all the one Radazah. This lesson was edifying and uplifting good spirit. We are very close to Yahweh Shai's return, man. Keep your head up, keep pushing. All right, and grow stronger and stronger in the spirit and power of Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai. And so until the next time I say Shalom.